This is my 1973 Honda CB450. It's a parallel twin that we've owned for about 10 years and it's been waiting restoration, and well, we're finally going to give it that. So step one into the restoration process is going to be to check to see if the bike even runs. I'm fairly confident it does. We're just going to put a little gas in it. I have the battery already hooked up to it. I already know that the carbs need to be rebuilt partially. So gasoline, I have the two fuel lines here. Left carburetor fuel line, right carburetor fuel line. We're just going to come here and pour some fuel into them. So we have a battery in the bike. We have both the fuel lines with fuel in them. They probably won't last too long, but we're gonna put the choke here. It doesn't quite wanna stick, unfortunately. So I might have to hold that with hand. Got the lights. I actually don't have a starter button. I just remember this. Let me get a pen and stick it in there. You guys can see right here, this fuel line is actually still full. Right carburetor fuel line is now empty because the float stays open because it sinks, right? So the float sinks down and it's forcing fuel into the engine. So we've probably flooded this carburetor, which is awesome. But this one is actually properly working. So everything is up to plan. I'm missing the button. That scared me. I'm missing the button, something I need to get, but this pen, the pen's able to get in there and it's able to turn the starter. So I'm gonna hold the choke with my hand and see what happens. Just like that, we have the bike firing. It turned on, but let's see if we can get it to idle for at least a second. That's loud. Let me open the garage. It's firing on a single cylinder. The right cylinder isn't firing, which could be because it is out of gas. It is warm, so it's because it's out of gas, because it ate all the gas. I have gone ahead and opened the bowl. So the bowl's open from these carbs very easily. The bottom here, you just flick it up and the bowl just comes out. Now, this float is completely bad. It takes in gas, it has multiple holes, and it looks like it's been attempted to be repaired in the past. Not sure why you would even want to repair them. Just buy new ones. It's really simple. They cost like 20 bucks at the very most. The OEM ones probably cost 30, 35, but still not too bad. As you guys saw, the float in the motorcycle was completely bad. Here I have a new float for the bike. I'm probably gonna order a full set and we're probably going to do a full carb refresh at some point, but I wanna get the bike running correctly before I really dig into it. I just wanna do the basics right now just to get it functional and clean. That's gonna be step 2 of today's video. I really wanna get it cleaned and washed and properly get all the grease and grime and surface rust off the bike because it's been sitting for a long time without a wash and it really deserves it. The bike's kind of been neglected in a corner. Obviously it's been in our heated shop the entire time, but I kick it over every once in a while, but I really want to get the 450 back on the road and ride it this summer. It's always just needed a few little things and then you're always like, the bike runs, it's perfectly fine, it doesn't really need anything. I'll get to it at some point and then some point never comes. Well, now is some point, so let's pull the bike out and get the new float installed and hopefully she should be running correct. So this jet or piece is held in by the float, and when the float's taken out, this has a risk of falling out, and it fell out. So we gotta make sure to install this before we put the float back. This goes right in here, and now we can so this is how this should be sitting, and now we can come and simply put the bowl back on, and this carb should not be leaking anymore, and we can test it right now. So as you can see here, obviously it's still taking in gasoline because it was empty, but it's going in very slowly. Before, it was just taking it all in. I'm assuming this float is still going to have to be set. You have to play around with the setting and make it bigger or smaller, and it probably isn't set correct from where I got it from. So we probably have to dial that in a little bit more, but it is taking in fuel semi-correctly now. I currently don't have the patience to toy around with the float setting. That's gonna have to be something a little bit more technical that I just don't have the patience for, because it's so nice outside right now. In Wisconsin, you have some nice days and you gotta take advantage of those nice days, especially during this time of year. It's decent outside, so I wanna wash the bike 100%. But if you can see here, this thing needs a wash pretty desperately. So let's go take it out and actually get it cleaned, because it's always better to work on a clean thing than a dirty machine. We'll let the bike sit there and dry off a little bit, but it's so much cleaner than what it was before. I mean, of course, the surface level rust is still gonna be there, but it took a really good layer out, and that's beginning to look like a really nice bike. So the bike is clean. We didn't get quite as far as I wanted to in this video, but I have made a list of the things that the bike needs. I was hoping that I was going to be able to take it out for a ride in today's video, but there's a couple of things that I need to do before we can do that. The first of which is we need to adjust this right side float a little bit. A little bit of gasoline is still leaking. And well, after a short adjustment, which I can do really quickly, but there's a second thing that prevents me from actually riding the bike. If we come over to the gas tank, we can see right here, this line isn't quite right for the gas tank. That line, that fuel line, comes and it hits the frame, and it doesn't let the gas tank sit properly on the bike. That's a return fuel line from one side to the other, so I need to order that line, and I need to order a couple other things. These shock boots are completely gone, and we're gonna have to do that. At some point, like I said, this bike is gonna be completely disassembled, but I wanna do a light restoration, so I'm gonna order those, but probably not install them until the bike completely comes apart. In order to do a full restoration, the bike doesn't need, honestly, all too much. It's just going to need to be cosmetically cleaned. If I can find new chrome bits, like a new fender, new headlight bracket, and a couple more pieces like the rear fender as well, I'd probably just buy new ones, to be honest with you, depending on how much they cost. It probably is more cost effective to buy new ones than to use the old ones and repair those or re-chrome those. So I'm going to see if I can source those and see how much they cost and the benefits of either getting new or doing something with these, because the rear fender is not all too bad, but the front one is pretty pitted. Overall, I mean, it's kind of almost there. I just want to get this bike in running operational condition. In part 2 of this restoration, we're definitely going to be doing some small maintenance items to get it roadworthy once again. Checking the tires, checking the brakes. We're going to be changing fluids in the bike and redoing the lines in the tank, and then seeing whether or not we can go actually ride it after fixing the float as well. A lot more to come on this motorcycle, but I thought I'd make a part 1 kind of just getting a feel for what this bike needs, cleaning it up. I really want to ride it. Coming soon. Make sure to check out other motorcycles in the collection if you guys are interested or never have seen the channel before. Subscribe, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.